Hello, Oscar here, taking you through stories people are talking about and sharing around the world on Newsfeed today. Big tech clamps down on hate speech, but also sparks a censorship debate. From Twitter spat to diplomatic crisis, but did one Saudi tweet go too far? Too many dry eyes in the house. A new app will tell you if you have the screen time condition. And surf's pup. Dogs hang teng with their humans on today's Animals Doing Stuff. Top of our newsfeed today, in just 24 hours, big tech companies have taken turns to ban a far-right US media platform from their sites. InfoWars is owned by conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, who also hosts a talk show. Jones has landed himself into legal trouble for the things he's said, and while public pressure has prompted the tech purge, some are wondering what it means for free speech.
There's comfort in numbers. Once Facebook started dropping InfoWars and then Apple fully dropped them, it gave Facebook, I think, the courage to fully drop it. There's been a lot of public pressure, too, on these platforms. And the more pressure there is, the more it gives them cover.
Remember InfoWars, remember free speech. But see, they're smart. They're like, we got to first demonize it so he's not a martyr. People see right through that. CNN that pushes the WMDs, the New York Times that wrote the lies on purpose that killed millions and sent our troops to be blown into bits. These are evil, wicked sociopaths that know you have a soul, so they try to punch your buttons all day.
What started as a Twitter spat between Canada and Saudi Arabia has quickly descended into a full-blown diplomatic crisis barely a day after Canada's foreign ministry called for the release of detained human rights activists. Thousands of Saudi tweeters have also been attacking Canada, including a pro-government account which tweeted a photo of a Canadian airliner flying directly toward the Toronto skyline. The photo was eerily reminiscent of the 2001 9/11 attacks. 15 of the 19 hijackers that day were Saudi citizens. Well, after a huge backlash online, the tweet was quickly deleted. The account, which is followed by a number of Saudi diplomatic figures, has also been shut down, with the Saudi government promising a full investigation. Let's have a look now at what else is trending on social media. Parts of Europe and America have literally been burning up in recent weeks thanks to record high temperatures. But could that be the new normal? Experts at the US National Academy of Sciences say our planet could soon turn into a hellish hothouse state with no coming back if we don't drastically cut back on greenhouse gas emissions. The conditions could even make some parts of the Earth impossible to live in. Yikes. Well, how's this for bad luck? Already stranded on a Toronto highway, this pickup truck then finds itself at the receiving end of a head-on collision. The spectacular scene was caught on the dash cam of the tow truck that was sent out to help in the first place. The man who'd been standing outside the pickup truck, as well as two others, are apparently in a stable condition. Well, Queen Bey never ceases to amaze us here on Newsfeed. After posting this snap of her gracing the cover of the coveted September Vogue issue, she revealed that she is in fact descended from a slave owner who fell in love and married a slave. She says learning about her ancestry helped her resolve conflicts in her own relationship with her husband, Jay-Z, who's rumoured to have been unfaithful. London's full of exclusive clubs for people from all walks, but the founders of Britain's first club for businesswomen have been forced to defend their decision to appoint a man to run it. It sparked anger and debate online, with many asking, why send in a man to do a woman's job? Sarah has more.
So if you've ever wanted to know what the first all-female private members club in the UK looks like, well, here it is. This is the Albright Club, and you can see plastered across the front window there a quote from Virginia Woolf saying, "A woman must have money and a room of her own." Now, it might look like any other kind of private members club here in London, but inside it's a little different. There's a beauty spa, there's a salon, there's a powder room, the wines are made by all-female run vineyards, even the paintings done by female artists. So cue the moral outrage when it was discovered that this club, this all-female club, has just appointed a man to be its first chairman. Now, we've heard from prominent businesswomen around the UK saying things like, well, this just goes to show how far women have to go when it comes to getting equality in the workplace, and that never in this world would a woman be allowed to be the chairman of a male-only networking club. But the women who founded the club, well, they're a little surprised by the whole hoo-ha. Number one, they think the man they've chosen is good for the job. His name's Alan Layton. He's a pretty well-known businessman here in the UK. He was the head of the Asda supermarket group. Now he is the chairman of another big retail group. They also think that having him on board, well, it shows that they're not anti-men, that this club, while it is all about empowering women, also wants to take enlightened men like Alan on the journey with them. Also, they say, it shows other men that really, if you want to create this gender equality, then men like Alan need to be part of that process, perhaps encouraging other men to get on the same sort of bandwagon, if you'd like to call it this. And the final reason that they say they have no problem with a man being the head of their club was the fact that he is not the boss. These two women who founded it are still the boss. Essentially, he's their employee.
We all know that screens are no longer optional. How else would you be watching us right now, right? But did you know that too much screen time can lead to a chronic condition known as dry eye? So how do you know you've got it? Well, there's now an app for that, naturally.
Diagnosing dry eye disease with a tablet. The app's developers from Aston University in England say traditionally the condition was associated with aging.
What we're beginning to see is now, with the use particularly of screens, so digital screens, tablets, smartphones, that actually even children are reporting dry eyes. So when they've been intensely staring at their screen for several hours, their eyes become uncomfortable.
Dry eye disease leaves the surface of the eye exposed and more susceptible to damage. The app poses some simple questions and a quick test measuring how long a person can comfortably stare at a screen without blinking.
When you concentrate very hard on a task, such as on a computer screen, you blink less. And also, instead of fully blinking, you partially blink. And so what's happening is damage is being done to the front of the eye, therefore tears aren't being produced in the normal way. And what happens is the tears evaporate and leave behind the salty content of the tear film, and that does further damage to your eyes.
The condition affects 1 in 5 adults in the UK, but the number is rising, caused by heavy screen use.
There is a bit of an irony. We're actually using the technology that potentially could cause problems if you use a lot of it to actually help us with the diagnosis.
The team hopes the app can help non-specialists like GPs and pharmacists diagnose the condition.
Let's go around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Tuesday. Facebook is asking American banks to join its Messenger service and bring their customers' financial information along with them. The social media giant wants to give banks the option of serving its customers through the messaging platform. But it's a big ask. Facebook is currently battling concerns around privacy and its use, or rather misuse, of user data. Well, Fitbits are all the rage right now as we strive to get our 10,000 steps a day, but the Pentagon has now banned US troops and other staff from wearing the fitness trackers in war zones and other sensitive areas. The issue came to a head in January when sensitive information about the location and staffing of military bases and spy outposts were revealed by fitness tracking app Strava. Google always picks a dessert or confectionery-based nickname for its mobile operating system, such as Oreo, Jelly Bean and Kit Kat. Now the tech giant has revealed its latest update, Android Pie. The software introduces a new way to track app usage and promises to extend battery life. But Google continues to face distribution issues. Only around 12% of Android devices are running the previous OS. Guardians of the Galaxy star Dave Bautista has threatened to walk after Disney fired director James Gunn a couple of weeks ago over controversial tweets he wrote a decade ago. The posts reference pedophilia and rape and were unearthed by conservative website The Daily Caller, partially in response to Gunn's criticism of President Donald Trump. Much of the cast have backed Gunn, and Bautista now says if Disney doesn't use the director's already completed script for the third instalment, then he's ready to walk. The Tokyo 2020 Games will see facial recognition technology used for the first time at an Olympics. Japan's NEC says it'll provide a large-scale facial recognition system that'll be used to identify over 300,000 people at the Games, including athletes, volunteers, media and other staff. Tokyo 2020 won't have a single Olympic park where people can move freely between venues. Instead, events will be spread out across the metropolitan area. So organisers are hoping facial recognition will speed up the identification process as people are forced to move from place to place.
It requires a higher level of security, while we also need to think of reducing the workload required for security checks. By introducing this facial recognition system, we are hoping to achieve this higher level of security, as well as a much more efficient and smoother security check process.
Because we love all things space here on Newsfeed, check out this video. SpaceX has successfully launched a communications satellite into orbit from Cape Canaveral. It was the first time it reused a new version of its Falcon 9 rocket, deploying a satellite for Telkom Indonesia. The rocket's first stage booster also made a smooth landing on top of a SpaceX drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean. We also love random acts of kindness on our show, but who would have thought that helping someone stack shelves in a grocery store would count as one? It certainly did in Louisiana, and the internet's response has been amazing. Take a look.
I'm watching a miracle in action.
And surf's pup for these pooches at the annual World Dog Surfing Competition in California. Canines of all shapes and sizes have jumped on mini surfboards to claim the title of top dog. Those skilled enough were able to go solo, or they had the choice of going tandem with their humans. And yes, life jackets were compulsory. Event organisers say a portion of the event's proceeds will go to dog, surfing and environmental charities. Participants say they'll be back next year, hoping for another swell outing. And of course the humans said that, not the dogs. Well, that's all from the Newsfeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints and suggestions at Oscar Subakti. You'll find us 24/7 on Twitter, YouTube and Facebook. Follow, subscribe and add. I'll see you tomorrow.